Hey everyone, I'm Dr. Elena Koch and I'm your professor for American Lit 2 this summer. I'm excited to start the term with you, and this video is just meant to be a companion piece to the syllabus so that you get a good idea of what to expect and what our class is all about. So for English 212, one of the first things I want you to know about the class is that it is a survey course. And what that means is that it's a course designed to cover a broad amount of material in one term. In this case, it's literature from the end of the Civil War to the present. And that literature is broken down into three major periods. We'll be starting with realism in the decades right after the Civil War. And then we'll head into the 20th century with modernism. And we'll be reading contemporary literature up to the present. So that's a lot of stuff to cover. What that will look like this semester is that we will be reading two novels and one novella, and those are available at the bookstore. You probably saw my email about that. One of them is The Great Gatsby, and another one is The Underground Railroad. These are in the bookstore along with Daisy Miller, A Study by Henry James, which I don't have here at home with me right now. If you can possibly get those at the bookstore or the same versions through another bookseller or through a public library, that would be great. If you can't find these versions or if you use ebooks, that's okay too. You just won't have the same page numbers as the rest of the class, which might be a slight disadvantage during discussions. The rest of the stories and poems that we're going to be reading, there's lots of them, will all be available for you on D2L and or through a Google search. Okay, we'll be reading about 3 dozen authors. So again, a lot of material, something for everybody. So what we'll think about this semester, in addition to the texts themselves, is the idea of the literary canon. There's a separate short video on that I want you to watch this week. Essentially, why does some stuff survive the test of time? Why are we reading The Great Gatsby 100 years after it was published, just about? Why does some stuff disappear? What does it mean for a work of literature to be good, and who gets to decide? I also want you to think about how American literature both reflects and influences the culture around it. So the literature produced by writers in the 1800s is obviously quite different from the literature we read today in some ways. So we'll think about why that is. And then finally, what is the value of reading literature? There are probably a few students in this section who are English majors or very enthusiastic readers. And there are also probably a few of you who don't really like to read that much. And you're honestly just taking this class because it fits your schedule and fulfills a humanities requirement, works toward a gen ed requirement. Either way, that's fine. But I do want us to think about why it matters to read literature instead of just reading history, or in addition to reading history books or news articles or watching television or movies. So let's talk about the logistics of taking an online summer class. This class, if you have found this video, you know that it's on the D2L platform and you've been able to find the video. So you've seen that this is a pretty user-friendly platform. If you're returning to us from a previous Prairie State class, you'll notice a few changes in the top menu bar. But whether you're new or returning, you'll find this a pretty easy platform to use, I think. The fact that we are covering a 16-week semester's worth of material in just 8 weeks means that we have half the time to get the work done. So that means that we have to move at a pretty fast clip here. And so this class demands a lot of time. If a regular semester demands about 9 to 12 hours worth of work, combined between class hours and the work you do outside of class, an online 8-week class works out to be about 18 to 24 hours so that we can get all of that in. You'll do lots of reading every week, obviously, since it's a literature class. And you will have both reading guides and videos to make use of to help you with that reading. So the videos will be important, videos like this one and others, to cover the material I would normally cover in a short lecture in a classroom. But most of a literature class like this is meant to be discussion-based, discussion-oriented. So we will have our discussions via the discussion board on D2L. If you've experienced discussion boards before, as I have as a student, you know that sometimes they can feel like busy work. But I'm really hoping that these discussions will help the literature come alive for you. I hope that you'll have fun contributing your thoughts and your ideas, being conversational with each other, and learning about what other people saw that you might have missed. These discussions can be a really great way to understand the literature better. If you've done all of those things, you should do really well on the short weekly quiz each week. And there are also short response papers in 6 of our 8 weeks. In addition, this first week, we have a couple of additional things to get you grounded in the class. There's no response paper this week, but you do have a couple of videos like this, an introduction post, and a new student survey. And we'll end with an expanded essay where you take a response paper, a short paper you've already written, and develop it into a longer essay. At least part of the final exam in this class will be open book as well. Okay, so I encourage you as much as you can to make a routine that you can stick to this semester. I know your schedules might change from week to week, but try to find multiple days over the course of the week where you can do the work for this class. At the beginning of the week, read a lot. I'll post a weekly overview in D2L, read the literature, obviously, use the reading guides, watch the videos, get to know the content of the course really well at the beginning of the week, so that in the second half of the week, you can show your knowledge, post in discussions. I will read your posts and reply to you all on Thursdays, and you'll read those and reply to each other by Fridays at noon. And that way, after you've read all those posts, you should be in really good shape to do well on the short reading quiz on Saturday nights. The quizzes will cover the reading as well as videos and discussion ideas. Most weeks, as I mentioned, you'll have a response paper due Saturday nights. I'm hoping you'll be able to complete those on Saturday nights to wrap up the week. But with the response papers, I can accept those through Monday mornings, early Monday mornings. Okay, you'll get more information about all of this later, but this should give you a general sense. I've already mentioned that to succeed, it really helps to establish a routine. And also, the research shows that there's a huge link between success in online courses and communicating with your classmates through discussions, and also through with your professor through discussions and email and so on. So don't hesitate to reach out to me. I'll talk about that more in a minute. Please make use of these resources in D2L. The videos and reading guides, as I've said, will really help you. D2L does show the professor each student's progress each week, so I'll be able to see which videos you've watched and so on, how many discussion posts you've read. There's always a correlation between success in the class and actually using those resources. Okay, so again, log in a few times a week. Read a lot. Obviously, since it's an English class, take the discussion seriously, and obviously you'll need to demonstrate your knowledge in the quizzes and papers and so on. Okay, so let's talk about what you can expect from me this summer. First of all, I'll be in touch with you a lot. I know that it can feel like you don't know your professor in an online class, but I'll be here ready to help you succeed. So that means when you email me, I will typically get back to you fairly promptly. And if you don't hear from me right away, if you don't hear from me within 24 hours, then send your email again. You'll also hear from me via D2L announcements twice a week. At the beginning of the week and the middle of the week, I'll post reminders. I'll be replying to your discussion posts and really thinking about what you have to say. And also, I'll give you feedback on your papers. You can expect me to do that hopefully within a day or two of you submitting this summer. You can expect me to be excited about the material. This is literature that I really love. My PhD is in American literature. So I'm excited to tell you why I love this stuff and hope that you like it too. I'll also be invested in your success. I want you to succeed. So make sure you be in touch with me about how I can help you do that. Okay. So it's been a couple of years since this pandemic started, and we still are struggling in some cases with illness and other disruptions. If you run into any trouble this summer, whether it's related to COVID or not, please don't disappear. Please ask for help and stay in touch with me. If you run into some bumps in the road, you can ask for an extension ahead of time before the deadline if you need it. Do your best to stay on top of the schedule. That will help you succeed, because the The assignments build upon each other, right? So if you do them in order, you'll have a better chance of being successful. But don't panic if you need a little more time. Email me ahead of time and we can work things out. The lowest quiz grade and lowest 2 response paper grades will be dropped this summer. So what that means is you can attempt everything and then just drop your lowest grades. Or if you have a really busy week, I still want you to do all the reading and participating, but maybe you don't have time to write the paper that week. You can miss 2 papers. You have to do 4 of the 6. Same with the quiz. Maybe you've done all the reading, but you just don't think you'll get to the quiz. You can drop your lowest quiz grades. So skip or drop the 2 lowest grades. There'll also be bonus points made available via D2L discussions. Sometimes those points are announced in the schedule, and sometimes you have to read my posts to find them. Okay, so let's take a look over at D2L. I think you've read the syllabus. Remember, here in the homepage, which you've already seen since you have found this video, you will find links to the weekly content. This menu bar has the major parts of D2L that we'll be using. You'll submit your assignments via assignments here. Here's the quizzes. Here's where you can watch your grades. If you want to email somebody in the class, you can find that information here. Discussions. But I want to go to content first and just point out that you'll be able to find and read the syllabus here. There's a tentative schedule at the end of the syllabus. So if you want to work ahead, you can look at that. And then every week I'll add another module with that week's content. So let's click on the content for week 1. Here's the weekly overview that I will want you to read at the beginning of the week, and it will contain links to all the resources that you need. Okay, where to read the syllabus, where to post your introduction and discussions, a link to the new student survey, the syllabus quiz, which is easy and open book. Here are some videos that help you dive into the literature this week. The readings are here. This week, there aren't any outside books. Oops, everything is available on D2L. I've posted PDFs or a link to a website in one case, a couple cases, a document in another case, but it's all there for you. If you're able to print and annotate, please do that. Otherwise, you can annotate in the documents. Okay, links to everything you should need will be in this weekly overview every week, and you can also find those links below in the submodules. Okay, same things down here. In some weeks, there will be extra resources you can look at, but these really are extra. You may not have time for them. Okay, so that's an introduction to the class and to what D2L looks like. I know this is a lot of material, so really do reach out to me if you have any questions. You can post your questions in discussions if they're questions about the class, or if they're questions about the reading material, or you can email me if you just want to ask your question on a one-on-one basis, okay? I'm looking forward to seeing what you have to say about the literature this summer. I will see you in our discussions.